what does it feel like? Like, or what is it like when you're learning to use a BCI? Like, what's that process like? The three of you are part of a very rarefied group of people who can answer that question. It's almost like telekinesis, moving things with your mind.
I think Nathan will have a very different answer, but for me, I was just thinking about moving my hand and wrist, which is a weird thing when someone asks you to start moving your hand, because I don't remember when I thought about it when I was growing up. As an infant, when you're learning that skill, you don't know what you're doing. And, then by the time you grow up, you don't have to think about it because it's just second nature. So it was pretty challenging because it is kind of abstract of, am I thinking about this the right way or not? But yeah, you had to think about what you're trying to move. And I tried to dial that into, what muscles am I trying to activate in my forearm to make my fingers flex and extend, or my wrist. And that helped. And then also, once we were connected to the brain-computer interface and seeing a virtual hand on the screen responding, that gives you that feedback to know if you're thinking about it the right way or not, or at least on the same page.
Did it evolve? Like, I'm thinking of I try to imagine what it would be like. I'm thinking when I first learned to drive, I was really concentrating on the steering wheel, but now I don't pay attention to it. Does it evolve? Or do you think about it anymore? Or is it now more does it become more like second nature, or?
When I first started to try to move the arm, they said, think about moving your hand right. And I was trying so hard to move the hand right. I was concentrating and thinking right, 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 right. And then it was time to move it left. I thought left, left, left. And I wasn't thinking about moving my hand. I was trying to move the robotic. And that was very slow for the first couple of days. And as I caught on that it was just like moving my own arm, then it became much more natural. The way I explained it to someone a couple of years later, I said, okay, reach your hand up to do a high five. And they did. And I said, no, what did you think about it? And he said, well, not very much. And I said, that's exactly it. It's natural. And even though I had been a quadriplegic for 12 years and my body had forgotten how to move my arm, my brain had not forgotten. So my brain remembered and did what brains are supposed to do. And I thought about moving my arm. And they said, yeah, that's easy. This is how you do it. Then I moved the arm.
When I first started using the BCI, control of the robotic arm has always just been really intuitive and easy. Basically, it worked the first time we tried it, and I think about moving my arm around, and the robotic arm moves around. I think we've controlled up to 9 degrees of freedom. It is one of those things that sometimes thinking less is more. You don't have to, think about every single joint and every single little, rotation of your wrists and all that. You just kind of end up thinking about the goal that you're trying to do.
Jan, you flew a flight simulator with your brain. Yeah. I am really curious, when you're flying a plane with your brain, are you thinking the same kinds of things you're thinking to feed yourself chocolate, or did you have to switch mindsets? How did that work?
Well, they said to make the plane turn right, think that you're turning your wrist this way and turning your wrist that way to make the plane turn left. So it was very quick to pick up. Yes, exactly. It was very quick to pick up those signals. And it became very natural very quickly. And they started me off in the clouds. And after I had the hand signals down, which took about 60 seconds, I was out of my chair. I was out of my broken body. I was flying. I was in the clouds, and it was so exciting. I was high from it.